Imagine 800 folks in this county that just had to wait before a first responder could help them with their problem. They pulled over 1,200 people out of the water in some form or fashion, whether that's in floodwaters here. Yes, you should thank them. Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. And it wasn't just first responders that helped with that too. We had folks in public works. I ruined several big trucks sending folks into waters into harm's way to help pull people out. Fortunately, on the second storm, a lot of people heeded evacuation orders. We had a tenfold increase in our shelters, and so most people sought refuge during the storms. But over 1,300 people had calls for service just in needing things out in the community. That could be a need for temporary housing, that could be a need for food. And so our teams have tried to step up and work on that. The devastation just across this county is unlike any that we have ever seen. Over 6,000 structures, or what we would just say had major damage, and close to 500 would be totally destroyed at the end of the day. And those are people too that are going to be without homes. Probably over $1 billion just worth of damage. And that's just what we know today. I'm sure as things continue, we will learn more. And that $1 billion worth of repairs has, shows itself in the debris, right? Whether it's the contents of your home, whether it's just tree debris from large oaks and downed vegetative debris that's come across the county, enough to litter 700 football fields, at least by today's estimate. I think that number is probably half of probably what the actual number is. And I'll just remind you that we are only 15 days post Milton. And so this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. I know there is a lot of angst, and we all, like I said, we all come here with different things that we're looking for answers for. But just know that I know that as a community, we have pulled together. Our team here has pulled together. I know that your Board of County Commissioners, they were with us every step of the way. And I see we have some in person, and I know the rest are online. So they're paying attention to what's going on out here in the community, and they want to hear from you. And so again, we're going to do our best to stick the landing, but I appreciate your patience. Because this is a recovery that will take months, if not years, for us to really fully overcome. So I would like to first bring up our solid waste director, Kevin Pliska. Kevin is going to provide an update, very brief update on debris management. So Kevin, I'd like to thank you, sir.
Good evening, Kevin Pliska. I'm solid waste director for the county. The county has prepared for a hurricane. We certainly, I would just say, we're not prepared for two hurricanes like this, right? We are catching up. We got off to a very good start though. 2 days after Helene, we were out in force. We continued to ramp up our resources, and I'm pleased to say that we've over doubled our production of removing debris since Helene came and after Milton. But we are just scratching the surface. To date, we have removed 186,000 cubic yards of debris from the streets. And that's primarily, as you know, from the west side of the county. I am pleased to say, though, that we are getting things moving very quickly on the east side of the county. We have brought in a project manager, former solid waste director, John Power, who lives in the community. He knows the streets, he knows the people, and he is heading up this effort. And in fact, we've already started a debris management site. It's up and running. There are 10 crews actively working as we speak today on the east side of the county going after debris, primarily focused around the Zephyr Hills area, working south to north, and then also in Dade City, working the main roads and the arterials off of it. We are also expected within the next week to start activity around the San Ann area as well. So we have a lot of catching up to do. It's amazing the amount of debris on the east side, and it breaks my heart because it's the same thing as the west side too. It's not just vegetative debris, it's the flooding and all of these large oak trees. I mean, I get very attached to big trees. Sometimes they become like relatives. So we're taking this very seriously. We have segmented the county into 16 different zones. We have prioritized zones really based on public safety. So we are working 4 zones on the west side of 19, and currently we have 2 zones on the east side of the county and soon to open up another one. We'll be providing you information throughout the presentation on where you can actually see interactive site of where we're working, what neighborhoods we're in, and what production we're doing each and every day. So when I talked about the 186,000 cubic yards, that sounds like a lot. We believe our goal is 1.4 million cubic yards. That's over 5 times what we dealt with Hurricane Irma back in 2017. So to Mike's point, please, to the extent you can, be patient. This will be a marathon. But please continue to call. You have concerns. We've already fielded 100 calls. We've returned all of them except one. We want to hear from you. We're doing what we can. So that's a high-level overview of what we're doing so far today with the solid waste department. You want to do questions now, or
Yeah, go ahead and do questions.
do it now? Any questions for solid waste? Yes, sir.
How do you access information on the area you work in the county?
Yeah, go ahead.
Will we be posting that?
Yes, yeah, we're going to post it so you don't have to write it down. We can pop it up. And then if you just go to our Pasco County website, it's very easy to get to, but yep, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We live on a street that is still underwater and is probably going to be underwater for a foreseeable future. How long do you expect that the debris collection will continue for those of us who aren't even on dry ground yet?
Yeah, so regardless of that type of condition, this is going to go on for at least a couple of months, okay? So that brings up a good point, though. Not all debris is the same. Not all communities were affected the same. So some areas, when we do a phase 1 pickup, there will be, first of all, multiple phases of our debris pickup. At least 2, and in many instances, 3 phases. The first phase is going after what the prominent debris is in that area. So west of 19, it was all flooding material, stuff coming out from people's homes. So on the east side, it's a mix, right? It can be a mix, but for the most part, it's going to be largely vegetative. But some homes are both, right? So with the flooding, if there is vegetative still available for us to pick up and you're still bringing stuff out, we'll probably go after the vegetative waste first. But primarily 3 pickups you can expect, at least 2, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Our plan is to hit the entire county on phase 1 first, and then we will be going back on phase 2. When we get near the phase 2 portion, we will be launching another interactive site where residents can very easily go in and say, I live here, this is the type of debris, and it pops up on our GIS map so that we know that we can schedule routes. Right now, it doesn't really make sense for us to do that because it's everywhere, okay?
Okay, before we ask any other questions, we're going to have additional staff, team members come up, talk what they're doing in their department. Then we'll do the question and answer. We'll go by each topic, solid waste, flood, water. So we're going to call up our next person.
Yeah, perfect. I'm going to bring up Larry here from our Public Works Department. Before I do that, though, I did mention that our Board of County Commissioners were here, but I neglected, if you're representing our cities, Dade City, Zephyr Hills, city managers or elected officials, can you just raise your hand too as well? I just want folks to know that, your elected officials are here looking out for you and listening as well. So Larry, I know there were questions about flooding and roads, so Larry, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Larry Alcaide. I am the Public Works Operations Manager. And obviously, we know we're all here, most of us, because there's a lot of flooding. I wish I could tell you that the flooding is going to go down tomorrow, next day, but we all, as far as I know, and what we've been told is it's going to take some time. The Withlacoochee, from my understanding, is it's going to be about sometime next week where it's going to actually start really receding. Unfortunately, that puts a kind of a hinder on what we want to try to do as far as on this side of the county with the pumps. We all heard the Governor DeSantis's, hey, I brought in 20 pumps. He did. We have those pumps with us. As a matter of fact, the county has about 46 pumps currently right now, ready to be deployed. Some are deployed in certain areas, especially down in the Separate Hills where the water has already started to recede. So we're able to start pumping in those locations. Public Works as a whole, their main purpose currently right now is to clear and open roads. All right, that is almost 100% complete. There are some areas that trees are still going to be falling. So we're addressing those as they come up. We're addressing the flooding where possible. And I say that loosely because, as we all know, the flooding is everywhere in the county currently right now. I have flooding on the east side and I have flooding on the west side as well. So we're addressing it where the water has started to recede and we're able to pump out of those locations. I have 140 pump trucks assigned to us from state. So this is a collaborative effort between state, county, and our partner cities. So we have 140 trucks currently right now that I can dispatch to areas that the water has receded. We know we can't pump out of there with standard pumps, but I can send in pump trucks to go and start removing some of that water. Basically, the areas we know where it bowls up and the water's just not going to go anywhere after it recedes. So I got that going on. And if you have one of those areas, by all means, please call it in and we'll be more than happy to get to it as fast as we possibly can. Understand that I'm doing this throughout the whole county. Currently, there are 6 major fairways that we have: Curly Road, Schreiber Road, and 2 locations on Schreiber Road, Plant, Bayhead, and Rooks Road, that are impassable. The road got washed away. Currently, we are in the process of expediting emergency contracts to get those roads fixed. I say expediting emergency contracts, but understand that it's still a process, and we're trying to get it done as fast as possible so that way the roads can get fixed and everybody can start using those and stop deviating from those areas or detouring. And that's all I have for right now. We will take questions at the end.
Perfect. Thank you, Larry. All right. And with that, I'd like to bring up, is it going to be JP? Yeah, JP Murphy, our Assistant County Administrator over Development Services, talk about permitting and building back. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Cabral. JP Murphy. I'm here tonight on behalf of Development Services, and chiefly Building Construction Services. Many of you may not know that one of Building Construction Services' primary roles following a hurricane is damage assessment, because we're in charge of helping keeping your structures and your home safe. Our first mission, we've done over 9,000 building inspections just for damage assessment alone. Of those 9,000, we've seen 6,000 majorly damaged structures. And that's just the ones we've been able to get to. Many of you in this room, we've not been even able to get to your structures, obviously because of the water. So we understand that this is an ongoing, longer process. But I want you to know that we're here to help you build back better. Part of that is permits will be required, but we've waived building permitting fees for any repairs related to storm damage. You will receive expedited permitting from our team. Those of you that are in a flood zone, and Savin Patel will explain some more detail on that later, we have special attention paid to you. You're going to have some forms that we're going to fill out. We want to help you walk through that process and help you understand fully what your options are as it relates to flood zone damaged properties. In addition, we have remote locations across the county, as well as all 3 of our primary sites. Of course, we have one here right down the street in Dade City. That's your closest one. We will be standing up a remote permitting location at the Troby-Lacucci Boys and Girls Club, and looking for other sites as well so that you don't have to drive all over the county, particularly on those roads that Larry just talked about that aren't functional. So we're here to provide you a path to reconstruction, and we're truly here to help you be able to reconstruct your home. I want you to know that we have resources for permitting on mypasco.net. If you go on the website, the first link on that thing is a recovery page. You click on permitting, and you'll find all kinds of resources on what you have to do, step-by-step guides, substantial damage things, and then also a listing of some things that don't require permits. So we do have some exemptions there. But we're here to help you from a building construction services standpoint. We want you to be safe. We want you to return to your homes. For those of you whose homes are still underwater, make sure that before you have services restored, you do get those safety inspections. You have a licensed professional look at it, because as I said previously, the last thing we want to see you is to survive a flood and a hurricane, only to lose your home into the fire. So we'll be available for questions later. But Mr. Kabal, if it's okay, I'd like to introduce Sadhan Patel to talk about the floodplain ordinances.
All right, so if you're not aware, if you're in the flood zone or not, you can visit our website at Pasco County and search Find My Flood Zone. And within there, you'll put in your address and you'll be able to see if you're in a flood zone or not. Now, if you're not sure and have any more questions, there's another option in there where you could do get help, and then within there you could get help, and then put in any question you want, and my team will be able to respond back. Now, if you're in the flood zone, we would require a substantial package, as JP mentioned. Substantial package itself is anything and everything that was damaged during the flood event would be included in that package. The material, cost and labor, and profit and overhead. And that portion of it would be compared to the 50% of the value of the structure. The structure, what we use, the 49% of the structure. The structure information can be found at Property Appraisal's website, the building value, and then when you take the building value, you multiply it by 1.15 to get the actual building value, and then you multiply by 0.49, which will give you the total value for that structure that you have spending power. And if you have any more questions, I could help you afterwards.
For those of you I know that are recording, we are recording this online, just so you know, so it will be made available later, just FYI, in case your arms get tired, so. And this guy's he's got it figured out. All right, I'd like to, Kathy and Marcy, I'd like you guys to kind of come up and talk a little bit about the community response. Thank you.
Good afternoon or good evening. My name is Marcy Esberg. I'm the Director of Community Development, and our department is here to help you with your housing. So we want to make sure that you get back to housing being safe for you. And we are coming with funding from the state. It's the State Housing Initiative Partnership, otherwise known as SHIP, for income eligible families to get a maximum award of up to $25,000. So who can qualify for this? It's all by household size. Per one-person family, up to $80,000. A four-person family, $114,000. And let me go over some of the things that we could do to help you get into housing. First, if you're a homeowner and your house needs repairs in order for you to get back in and be safe in there, we could help with that housing. If you have insurance deductibles that need to be paid, we could pay that with this grant. If you are a renter and you need to be relocated, we could pay first, last security and some of your rent so you could be rehoused. We also are helping people with immediate needs by putting them into a hotel and paying for their hotel. So those are some of the key ways that we can help you. The maximum award is $25,000. So keep that in mind. We could put you in a hotel for a week or two or 3 weeks while you're looking for a new rental, but altogether that will be $25,000. I have come with plenty of applications and information sheets, and we also have an online portal for you to apply, and we look forward to working with you and helping you get rehoused.
Good evening. Kathy Pearson, Assistant County Administrator for Public Services. Just wanted to go over some of the numbers we had in our shelters. So for Helene, we started off with a little bit under 500, and then Milton came, and you all took shelter. 5,800 of you took shelter, along with 1,300 animals. And kudos to all those that were involved, especially our animal services, taking care of all those. And so we're down to a little bit less than 130 in our shelters now. But what does that mean? What can we do? How are we going to get them the help that they need? Well, today, we actually initiated a Pasco Hope. I just wanted to show you a picture. The county was very fortunate to have about 2.1 acres over in Grand Boulevard in Newport Richey. And the original intent of that was to turn that into a low barrier homeless shelter. But the state was very gracious to give us about 25 campers, trailers, and the team was like, what are we going to do with them? Where are we going to put them? And fortunately, we had this place to put them on. Also, with additions to that, those fit 2 people. We said we need more. And so we actually got 50 pallet homes. So we have what we're calling Pasco Hope. It's running by Catholic Charities, temporary housing for those that need it with wraparound services. So you come, help you with FEMA, help you with maybe working with Marcy's programs, mental health, all kinds of things that people have been traumatized by this. So if you're interested, we're hoping to open next week. We're also doing a family shelter over at the Youth Lane, which is also on the west side. That's going to take a couple more weeks to open, but again, we have 14 trailers along with 4 ADA accessible trailers also. So some of the good things that we're doing to try to help people, and if you're interested, come see us after. Thank you.
Yeah, and just to add to that, if you are still in need of shelters, these rivers still continue to crest, or they'll be a while before they recede. Wesley Chapel District Park, we do still have a shelter open there as well, so it's always an option. I'd like to, so we've kind of talked about taking care of those of us as a community, but business is also important. So I'd like our Planning and Economic Growth Director, David Engel, to come up and talk a little bit about business recovery. David?
Good evening, everybody. I want to let you know that Pasco County is very supportive of a resilient business community. Every business person in this room is important to us. Your problems may appear small, but they're large to us. So we're here to assist you and solve problems and work through the process to get you up and running and back on your feet financially. So we have a variety of resources that we can pull upon. We have not only FEMA, we have other federal types of resources for response and recovery from the hurricanes. We also have some state assets that we could help you out with. So if your business has been damaged, whether you have business interruption due to flooding or you have structural and/or flooding issues and business interruption, please contact us. And I'll be here and I'll be over in the corner. I'll hand you out my card. And we'll have we have 2 response teams that'll come out, and one of them will visit with you and look at your property, help you submit damage reports if you haven't submitted. We're in partnership with the Pasco Economic Development Council. That's the Board of County Commissioners designated economic development organization. So we're working in tandem to respond to these terrible storms. But I want to let you know that we're here for you. We work around the clock, and we will achieve a successful outcome. So thank you.
So with that, we're going to bring up our FEMA representative, and she's going to say a few kind words and shed some light.
Well, that's no problem. FEMA could use a few kind words these days. I represent the individual assistance part of FEMA. FEMA's divided into 2 parts. One is public and one is individual. Everything that I work with is tailored to assisting the person, family who had damages. The most important thing we can say is that you need to register. If you don't register, you won't know all the new wonderful things that FEMA has opened up for recovery. I want you to think about the first thing that happens when there's a disaster. You prepare for it, you live through it, and then you hear the sounds and there's the smells, and then the sun comes up or comes back out, and you're walking around trying to figure out, oh my goodness. So the first people that you have helping you are probably your neighbors, your family, first responders, firemen, policemen, and all of those are folks that we call local. They're your neighbors, they're your coworkers, they're your church members. So we have a saying in FEMA that disaster starts local and ends local. So in that arc in between, what does FEMA do? In the case of IA, we help you register, we help you receive funding, which is money, and we're assistants. We're not rescue, but we're assistants. So you've gotten a declaration, FEMA comes in, you go and you register. If you have insurance, whether you're a homeowner or a renter, or you own a car, that's your first line of defense, of course. Then FEMA can probably step in and help you. One of the biggest myths is, well, FEMA's not going to help me, I've got insurance. FEMA very clearly states that they help the uninsured, the insured, and the underinsured. And that is pretty much all of us. Now, are they going to give you 100% dollar for dollar rescue? Probably not. But anything that they can help out with, they're willing to do. So you've got FEMA here, and you've got all these wonderful programs standing up, and you've got Catholic Charities, and you've got American Red Cross and Salvation Army and Operation Barbecue, my favorite, serving meals, and people are helping people. And then you realize, no, we're not going to be home for Christmas. In fact, we probably aren't going to be home for Mother's Day because the water has nowhere to go. There's no more plywood. This is a mess. We don't like it. And I was speaking to someone and I said, well, what I have learned is that this may be Florida. This didn't happen in southern Utah, you know? But every time your home is damaged, it's like the first time. And you may know about FEMA, but now you've got to deal with it. You may know about insurance, but now you've got to deal with it. So it isn't as if y'all are seasoned in this process. You're a little more aware. But when all of a sudden the water is doing what it's never done before, it's everybody's first disaster. So you go through with FEMA. There are subject matter experts, and they sit at the DRCs and the marks. They know this registration, documentation, itty bitty this, if this, then that, but if not that, then this, but maybe that and over there and down there. They are your new best friends. Even if you get emails or letters and you don't understand it, take it in and let them help you. Or call the 1-800-621-FEMA. Those are subject matter experts also. Please be patient. We've had an unprecedented amount of storms, and you all know that y'all are in a bad situation, but so is North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and on. So we're all doing our best. So you have a storm, you have your insurance, you have your FEMA, then you bring in your volunteer groups so you can have money, manpower, and materials. And then those hundreds of thousands of people who feel that their call to service is to help after a disaster. Catholic Charities, World Renew, the Mennonites. The list is astounding. Feeding America. It just goes on and on. And with the cooperation between the nonprofits who are giving of their time and money and donations and your skills and FEMA money and other housing programs, we're going to recover. It won't be quick and it won't be pretty, but it will eventually be done. So we're going to leave. FEMA's going to leave. All these folks are still going to be here. We hope you've encouraged and developed relationships with all those wonderful nonprofits of the Baptists and the Methodists and Team Rubicon and Engineers Without Borders, and it goes on and on. And it's back to local. You're helping each other. You're coordinating, cooperating, collaborating. And of course, you all have compassion for each other. So that is the sequence of assistance. Starts local, ends local. And if you have any questions, then we will be, you're doing it after, right? Yeah. After, I have a colleague here. I have numerous colleagues here. They're with various departments, civil rights, disabilities, and so forth. And we will try to assist you as best we can. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to move to the question and answer period. We're going to do it by subject matter expert as they came up here. We'd appreciate it that you would raise your hand. If you do have a question, Ralph will run over there with the microphone, get it to you. We do have a Spanish-speaking interpreter here. If anybody needs that, we'll utilize him also. And like I said, please make the questions direct to the subject matter expert. Let's try not to get sidetracked and go down into the weeds. And please be respectful and personable. I don't want no direct attacks. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start with debris management. Anybody got questions on debris?
My question is first of all, we're going to try to increase public safety by removing the debris that's along the roadways and stuff. Is that correct?
That's correct. One important aspect of that is, we need to get it off the roadways, but also we need to maintain it within the right of way. We've seen some people push it out of the right of way, and our contractors, they just cannot retrieve it at that point. So it is a balance off the roads, but within the right of way.
The second question is, I live on a private road. The debris was very extensive to the point that if there is an emergency medical issue, that we might have a problem having a fire truck or someone like that getting down our road. We had huge majestic oaks that were like 4 foot across. We are in the southern part of Zephyr Hills off of Chancey Road. So they're going to be actually starting from the south, working north, correct?
So Zephyr Hills, John, you may be able to answer this better than me, but I'm not sure how far south we're starting, but yes, we are south, working north. There is a dividing line right now with some pumping mechanisms or hoses and whatnot, and then we'll attack it the other way. But to your point also on private roads, this is an issue that we are working on right now with the county. There are certain things that we have to do, go through processes, getting proper access to private gated communities, private homes and everything like that. We are working through that quickly, and we'll have information out on our website and through our public and media group. So that is coming very soon, and we understand. And if you have an issue like that, where there is something blocking a road, regardless if it's private, whatever, please call us. The last thing we want is for emergency services not to be able to get to you. So please call us and let us know if that condition exists, okay?
Thank you for your response.
Yep.
I'm going to touch on one thing with the private roads. So we have to work with FEMA in the state because we cannot just go on to a private road. We have to get right of entry forms. And we're currently waiting from a letter from FEMA in regard to getting that permission to actually start doing that.
So there's 36 families families on this road. Do I need to get them to sign a petition or what?
You can do that, but unfortunately, it deals with the reimbursement prospect of the debris. Because if we go on there, and even though you say we can, and FEMA has not allowed us to, it can cause an issue with reimbursement on that debris. Yes, sir. But we're actively working on it right now. We got the letter drafted. It's been submitted, and we're just waiting for a response. Sorry, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I was speaking with Farm Service Agency today, and they're telling us, don't move debris, don't move trees, fix your fence to hold the cows, but don't move anything until your claim has been processed. If you've already picked up in our neighborhood, the road, the oaks and everything, if we send in a reference number for our road and address, will you be out again later to pick that up?
We will be out again later on a phase 2. If you're in a unique situation like that where you were told you cannot do something with us, you know, our solid waste numbers on the website as well. Call, we can get it logged. It may take a little bit more time, but I understand not everybody's in the same situation. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I realize there's much more serious issues here with people here than trees. But I'd like to bring this to your attention and put this out. That what we understand that there are, in my whole life, there's several communities around that's been here for years, and they have all the beautiful trees, obviously. So what we're hearing, though, what I call the county is that they'll pick up on the state, will pick up on the state road, the county will pick up on the county road, but anything that's private will not be picked up. Just 2 or 3 things to throw out. One, maybe it's because we've been here our whole life. We've always been told to take things out to the road, and that's what people do. So they take them out to the road. But the second thing is, the concern is a lot of people had these emergencies where they couldn't get out. They had to get these tree people coming in, 3,000 or 4,000. And most of those people, thankfully, were here. We're not locals because we don't have that many tree people here. But they got us out of our house, got the trees off the roof, and we were able to get out. But they did not have the ability to haul these trees off. There's not, the percentage-wise, I'm thinking, in Dade City and in East Pasco, there's not that many actually out there. But my concern is if these piles of trees all throughout these areas are not picked up, in the next 4 to 6 months, what we're going to see is we're going to see some serious fires in these subdivisions, and we're going to see some traffic problems in there. And I think in the end result, it's going to cost more for the county to bring in fire trucks and bring in emergency people because of that stuff in there. And I realize there's a problem with getting into those subdivisions. Again, it's not that many there, but I think we really need to get those cleaned up. And I think it's 100-year storm. I think the county needs to step up in 100 years, and now's the time. That's what it is.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
In response to what he said, I live in Darby and I have a.
I'm sorry, we're all going to go to Mike because we're past 15 from here.
I live in Darby and I'm on a 10-acre lot and I'm on the back 5 acres. I had several huge oak trees fall on my driveway and we had the tree service come and cut them down. I have piles of logs and trees and debris that's like 40 feet high on my property. I have no way to remove that pile of debris. So what are my options?
So on your private property, the option right now is to get it to the right of way.
I live on the back 5 acres. There's no way I have no machines to bring it up to the road.
So I think we're going to have to probably take this offline. Is this a private road? Is it a private driveway? Okay.
So he'll speak to you after.
All right, thank you.
Give me a second.
Hi there. I just want clarification and confirmation of what you had stated before. we're in a situation in Dade City where the house is still underwater. One, do we have a timeline of when about 3 feet of water is going to recede in the home? Second, just to confirm, you did say that the contents of that home can be picked up, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, gotcha. And there will be a phase for that.
Yes, ma'am. It may be just depending on how long it takes for the waters to recede.
Right.
And then it takes time for people to get debris out, right?
Sure.
In many cases, people have to hire contractors and remove drywall. So initially, sometimes we may see furniture, carpets, contents, and then weeks later, drywall. So it does come in phases, and that's why we're planning on doing multiple sweeps in neighborhoods.
Okay, the first sweep though would be personal contents, right? That's the priority to get out before any drywall or any of that kind of stuff can even be taken out. So that's kind of what I'm wanting clarification and confirmation on. Those items will be picked up, correct?
They will be picked up, but
By you guys.
all I'm suggesting is, depending on your neighborhood, if for some reason you were one of very few in a neighborhood of 100 that flooded, when we do that first sweep, it may be actually going after vegetative waste instead of content waste. So
Right.
we're looking at neighborhoods as a whole.
Sure.
Because we have to treat things differently, right? We can't just group it all together. We want to apply best management practices to the debris. We do some separation and we want to handle it properly. So that's why we have to pick it up properly.
Sure.
That information is also on the mypasco.net website, talking about how to separate, especially in flooded areas. You know,
Okay.
you can almost think about, you're going to end up with 4 different piles, things under your sinks and in your garage. You know, the chemicals, paints, et cetera.
Correct.
You can have electronics and white goods. White goods are appliances, right? Things like that. That's separate. And then you have your contents, furniture, carpets, drywall, and then lastly, the vegetative type waste. We treat those separately. Those need to be in distinct piles to make sure that we manage it properly.
Correct. And then you said as well, just again to confirm what you had stated earlier, that we can go onto the website when the contents, let's say all the furniture, because that's the priority that has to be moved out after obviously debris, that we can go on to the website and state, or I guess, put in a
We
request. How
actually-
does that process exactly
Yeah.
work? What does that look like? Can you?
We did that during Helene last year. And after we do our phase 1 sweep, we will be going, we will make it known that we're asking people to go onto the website, and you're essentially hitting a GIS locator that says, here I am, I have debris, and this is what it is. So then it comes up on our map, so we can set up routes, scheduling, efficiencies, et cetera.
Okay, and then again, lastly, kind of circling back, timeline for water receding. We haven't really heard any, I mean, I know you can't say specifically, but just, do we have any idea whatsoever?
Yeah.
For the people with 2 to 3 feet of water since basically October 9th?
Are you up by the river?
No, I'm in Dade City, Hickory Hills.
All right.
It's been there since the 9th.
Yeah, it's a bowl out there. In fact, basically the whole east side of the county is a bowl. And it's going to naturally have to drain off. So we're expecting to see water in areas for an extended amount of time. The Withlacoochee is not going to be in its banks till in November sometimes. So wherever there's water standing and that river still being at its banks, we're going to have water. We're going to have a very difficult time right now trying to move the water because of the Withlacoochee River.
So would you say extended realistically 3-4 weeks?
All right, what do you think? Hickory Hills?
Hickory Hills?
Yeah.
Hickory Hills, from my understanding, is further west of the Withlacoochee. So that will be a neighborhood that as the river goes down, will probably be one of the first ones that we'll be able to address as far as the flooding concern and moving water away
Perfect.
from there. But understand that as I move water, I also have to keep the neighborhoods downstream of where I'm moving that water from. So they're already flooded. I don't want to flood them anymore. So
Sure.
it is a process and it's a balancing act.
Absolutely, understood. Thank you so much.
Yep, no problem.
I'd like to add something, ma'am, to one of your comments. I'm Jack Mariano, Commissioner from District 5. 2/3 of the coast is where I'm at, where Helene struck, and we had a lot of movement of what to do, when to do it. When the waters recede, the first thing is obviously get the furniture out so you can get it out, so you can move around the house. But that drywall needs to come out fast. And wherever you see the drywall, let's say it's like 2 feet high, you need to go at least 4 feet high to get it out. But that drywall needs to go out fast. You want to get rid of any chance for mold to grow. As far as refrigerators go, you can take the refrigerators out and take your food out, put that in your trash, your regular trash, but make sure the refrigerator is open and clean. What you'll find is a lot of people tend to pick them up and get them away, but if they have food in them, they will not take them. And that could actually speed the process up if people actually take them out. Okay.
Hey, sticking with debris questions. Is still debris questions or? Because I just need Mr. Larry's phone number for the Public Works. If that could be put out, and then also the commissioners would be nice. Thank you. Any other debris questions? Ooh, we do. Okay.
Okay. A lot of the county's dirt roads are publicly owned, but they're not maintained by the county. They're maintained by the private citizens that live in the area. Are those roads that are going to be having the debris picked up off the side of the road? They are publicly owned, but they're privately maintained. Usually the signs are white and green if it's private road or if it's public road that the county doesn't maintain.
Okay, I think that's going to go back to, what Andrew was talking about, looking at this with FEMA, coming up with the overall policy and getting that information out very quickly. We understand it's a big concern and we do need to provide clarity on it.
Okay, I just have one question. I live within the city limits of Dade City, and I was flooded out completely, lost everything, and wanted to find out if indeed, because of where I live, will all the extra workers that FEMA has, that you all have from FEMA, will they be coming within the city limits to pick up this debris? Because it's an eyesore, and I know that a lot of people are probably in worse shape than I am, but I'm having to build up from the floor. I've been there 45 years and I've never seen anything else like this. But I lost everything, so I don't have anything. And you're absolutely right about the mold. Be careful, because even if you have flood insurance, sometimes if that mildew builds up in that house, you may have a problem with your insurance company. But I want to know, if FEMA workers or somebody or the county is going to be responsible for coming by and picking up debris from people's homes that they've had to rip out for this project, for this after Hurricane Milton. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry for your loss. That is horrible. Sometimes I complain about things and you think about what everybody's been through, and it's really heartbreaking, and I am sorry. We are in a pretty good spot with our cities, Zephyr Hills, Dade City, San Antonio. We have interlocal agreements with them. So our primary debris management companies, they are going to go into the cities. There's really not going to be a differentiation from what you're seeing, right? So you're going to get the same service that the county is through the FEMA program that we're adhering to on how we manage debris. So we're looking at areas, we're not really distinguishing the two from what you will see. We have to measure things differently, but we are going into the cities, okay? I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Corner of the county. We have water. I've also lost everything, so I can feel your pain up there. But they're telling us that the water might go down, but it's going to come back up. They're going to open these locks up and flood us out again? I'm asking.
I'm telling you, no, sir.
The lady was asking, when is it going to
No,
crest? When is it done? We want to know. Nobody will tell us.
What locks are you talking about?
Whatever's on the river.
The what?
The locks that are on the river to hold the water.
No, sir. The Hillsborough River and the Tampa Bay Water Management, they control the river flow down there, and there is no chance of that. They're not have no plans on doing that. They're controlling the water actually for us to get water out of our.
Water's gonna keep going down.
Yes.
I got more questions, but it'll be.
I still had a debris question. So we have trees lining all of the road in front of us. There's no place to put anything. We're waiting on insurance to come so that we can start ripping out flooring. That we didn't have flooding. It was from the roof coming in. Where are we supposed to put the debris from, like the flooring, all the laminate, that kind of stuff? Or can we take it to the dump on handcart? Because we're on East Pasco. We're not sure what to do with that because there's no place to put it currently on our street in Zephyr Hills.
So we are taking on handcart vegetative debris. We've got a very big mound. We'll grind it up and make more room. So if you have that capability to give yourself more room, because you definitely want to get those contents out and out of the.
Well, they take the flooring, like we can't move the debris from the trees. It's big, giant oak trees. But when we pull the laminate flooring out, can we bring that to the?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
If you come to the handcart road, just like normally, just please bring your ID, just proof of residency. That's all you need. Okay.
One more question. We're also in the same boat. We're on a state road, but we're governed by the county. What's gonna happen to us? Whose responsibility is it to get that debris? Because I also can't touch mine for some time now, till my insurance company sees it, till FEMA. FEMA's the only one that's helped me so far, period.
I would suggest that you, to the extent you're able, follow your insurance company's instructions if they're wanting you to document it. But that's an area that we would come pick it up on the right of way.
Ralph, come this way. This gentleman up here in the red has had his arm up for a while.
Okay, hold on, wait.
Listen, on behalf of the city of Dade City, I would like to ensure our residents that you are not being left behind. We are working together. This is a process. There is absolutely no way anyone standing here in this room can tell you when water is going to be gone, because we don't control the water. We can't do that. And I'm a person that's going to be transparent and that's going to be honest with you. But what I can assure you is that the county and that the city, we won't stop until we're all made whole. And that's what we need to focus on. That's what we need to hold on to. At this point, sometimes all we have left is just a little bit of hope. But you do have people. You have people who are going to stand up and go to bat for you. And I stand today to let you know that. I feel it. So for the city of Dade City, we had to make a priority. We made a priority to say that our children still have to walk to school, right? A 2-mile radius, they have to walk to school. So the priority is to make sure that our children don't have to be in the roadway to get to school. So those are the roads that we're focusing on first. I got it. It's an eyesore. I got it. You don't want it in front of your house. I understand. But it's in front of my house too. This didn't just hit one person. It hit all of us. And I'm just asking, I'm truly asking to not take it as this side or that side. It's all of us. Thank you.
I gotta move the car. I gotta move the car.
Gotta do what?
I have to move the car. Whoever owns a silver Toyota Sienna license plate 826-7XD, we need to get your vehicle moved, please. You're blocking a handicapped person and he cannot get out. So if that is your vehicle, can you please move it?
Parked on the north side.
On the north side of the building. Now the question in the back.
Hi, my name is David Littett. I'm a resident of Zephyr Hills. I live right off Geiger Road, Hazelwood Drive. My question is to Ron Oakley. Can you answer a question for me?
Is it debris related?
What's it related to? Flooding. No.
On debris.
Any other debris?
Debris question right here.
I live in Zephyr Hills, but I live in the county, not the city. And our road is flooded, so they can't even get the garbage trucks down our road. So I know the water has to recede before they're able to even get down there. But will we still be in the phases too, or will they start the phases over with us, or how will they do that?
You will be in the phases, right? Once we're in an area and we are in your area, we're going to complete that before that crew would move to a different area. So good news, bad news, at least the crews are working in your area and they're committed to stay in that area before at least phase one sweep is done. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Wait. Margarita, wait.
There's an Hispanic group here from Bruce Road on the way to Lacucci on 301 over to the right. Their houses are all underwater. And they said that that was not ever considered a flood zone. And now they don't know what to do. Most of them don't speak English. And no one has been down there to see. I went yesterday and it looks like a huge lake, just a huge lake. So I'm here because there's several families here that have lost their homes and they don't really understand what is happening because no one has been down there to talk to them, to see about what is happening. And it is horrible. It is, and I'm sure that we're all dealing with the same things. But I want to make sure that our community of Hispanics are understood and visited.
Sure, we can have, go.
That's fine. We do have a Spanish interpreter here this evening, so if folks do have specific questions.
Yes, I think Margarita has a question, and I did tell her that you had an Hispanic interpreter.
Thank you.
So I wasn't going to take that place.
Yes. No.
But she's right there. Margarita, si te levantas y le dices a la señora que te ayude para que puedas interpretar.
Okay, so perfect. Okay, any other debris-related questions? Okay, yes.
Sí. Mi nombre es Margarita Chacón. So, mi casa está por Barrymore Road en Bruce. Entonces estamos inundados y queremos saber.
So my name is Margarita Chacon. We live out on Barrymore Road, and our house is flooded, and we wanted to know.
Yo quisiera saber por qué está inundado y, o sea, no es una parte de inundación ahí.
Why is it flooded? Because it's not a flood zone.
So if she will pause, I will have Public Works come up the next to answer flooding questions. So, próximo.
Momentito, el próximo sería obra pública y ellos podrían
Okay.
Okay. Any other debris-related questions?
Debris-related question?
Still doing debris.
Folks, if we can keep them related to the subject that we're going over, please, like we're doing debris, let's keep it on debris.
I got to the question, Bob. I can't speak much English. I need in translation, please.
Debris.
Yes, our question is because we have suffered damages through the 3 hurricanes, first Dade, then Helene, and now this one. And our insurance denied us, FEMA denied us. What we wanted to know is that if we can even live in that house because we're 2 handicapped people.
So let us go through the subjects and then we'll get them at the end. We'll have a conversation with him. Okay, without seeing any more hands up, we're going to go ahead and move to roads and flooding.
All right.
All right. The first question we should answer is her question regarding.
I think Fig's taking care of it.
Fig's taking, Fig's here. Right.
Yeah.
Fig, you all right? You good with that? All
I
right.
think, Larry, it would be important for the audience to know about areas that have not been included.
So traditionally, obviously, there's a lot of places that are supposedly out of the flood zone. Folks, the river rose way beyond what anybody ever expected. Something that, again, hasn't happened since 1921. When these flood zones were created, I can assure you that probably was not in the back of their mind. So unfortunately, at this point, those areas that weren't considered flood zones found themselves underwater. Something that, that we as the county, the state, and I can assure you the city didn't foresee happening.
And something I want to reiterate on a little bit. We're not just talking about the river flooding. Pockets of Dade City, Lacoochee, and Zephyr Hills, an area of Lacoochee took 21 inches of rain in a little less than 4 hours. Dade City received 18 inches of rain in a little under 4 hours. And pockets of Zephyr Hills had 15 to 18 inches of rain. That is historic rain in that short amount of time. Like I said, this has been an unprecedented storm. Unfortunately, like we were talking earlier, we can't predict when the water is going to go down. Unfortunately, it's something that Mother Nature did to us. It was that 100-year, we've heard 100-year storm, 200-year storm. There's talks now with the National Weather Service and NOAA that this might be a 500-year event. So unfortunately, we're dealt with Mother Nature, and our team back here behind us, we're busting our butts. We really are. We're answering calls of service day in and day out. Question on flooding?
Just need a number for public works for the pumps or the pump trucks. And is there a plan actually for pumping any of the water? You're saying about the rivers, a lot of this is in that river. So we need the numbers or probably get it online.
Right, and you can get it online. That you can go online to the Pasco website, and you can find the Pasco Public Works phone number on there. If you want it, currently right now we have folks. I have personnel here that can assist you if you want to go on the sidebar there with them, and they'll be more than happy to assist you with those and getting those numbers as well.
Okay, I got a question here.
Good evening. Thank you for holding this forum. I'm Ann Parks. I'm the president of Oaks Royal 3 in Zephyr Hills, Florida. We're across from Beckmar, and our road was closed down and we couldn't get in and out of the park. My question is that we have Zephyr Creek rolls through our park, and we have 5 ponds. We have experienced great amount of debris that's in our ponds, and the creek has become compromised. Let's see, it was like 4 feet wide, now it's about 10 feet wide due to erosion. On a small park of 147 units, a quarter of my budget right now already goes to maintain that area and to keep it free of vegetation, and it can flow and repair what we can. I don't have the money or the resources, and I don't know where to start to get the money to come in. Naturally, it comes from Geiger, it comes down through us, it goes to Bentmar, and it ends up at Zephyr Parks. We're going to need help, and I'm hoping you have a plan or something that can help us to rebuild this area. We had flooding in our park, but none of our homes were compromised. So if this isn't taken care of, I'm afraid that we're going to have an issue with our homes also. We're probably within about 2 or 3 feet of our homes, before we were able to get compromised. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Do you know if your park's drainage actually goes into like the little Geiger Creek there that goes through Betmar? Okay, so
We have a bridge that goes over the creek into our park. Mr. Oakley's been in our park before. And then it goes underneath the culvert that goes under the bridge at Dean Dairy.
okay, so as far as the Geiger Creek or Geiger Pond, Geiger Creek that goes through the side, it's on the side of your development from my understanding, or your community, and then it goes through Betmar. So the county is responsible for that. So we will look at all our assets as on the canal side, the creek side. The stuff that is inside internal, I can't say that we're going to go and assist it, because as of right now, I don't know that off the top of my head, because again, it's private property, and it is the responsibility of that private property owner to fix it. But don't count it out. Let's put it that way. Don't count it out. We're all in this together, and we're going to try to do the best that we can to try to assist you the most that we can.
Hi, I'm at 301 in Trilby. So we crested at 19.76 foot where we were at. Obviously, a lot of us are still underwater there. Everybody Riverside, I get, and there's pockets in the town too. I guess I'm a little taken aback about the whole we don't control the water thing. Now, Mother Nature, I get. But I do recall reading an article saying that you guys were mitigating the river before the storms in anticipation for the storm. So is that incorrect?
Well, we can only mitigate so much. I don't know if you saw the track of the storm.
Right. It was supposed to be south of us, so that's my next point.
It did. It hit south of us. However, it followed almost the Hillsborough River to the green swamp.
So was that anticipated?
As far as
anybody for pre-warnings, because all I know is that the river water was already coming up by the time I got my first notice. And I think a lot of people had that problem. We were cleaning up storm debris like trees, and all of a sudden we're seeing water creep up. And now we're in the last few hours of trying to get everything as high as we can. How do we prevent that from the future happening? We didn't get notices.
So as far as notices, as far as the river cresting, I think notices were issued out. Post-storm, yes.
Yeah, but not post-flood. A lot of these people already have water at the back of their house by the time we got first notices.
So when the forecast originally came out for the storm, going south of us and making impact on us, our forecast models from NWS showed the Withlacoochee going into major, but the major was not even enough to go into houses. They kept adjusting it and adjusting it and adjusting it, the weather service. So that was the only way. And that's when we started putting out the Everbridge alerts, or the alert Pasco, or do you ever want to call it, saying you need to start seeking higher ground, because we did not even anticipate this damage happening. Like I said, it was a creeper. And when all the rainfall amounts started coming in, we knew that's when we started putting the Everbridge alerts out to get to higher ground, leave your home. We had the voluntary evacuation order out. So we tried. Unfortunately, sometimes we are reactive. We can't be proactive on storm surge and stuff like that, because we get those estimates and we know the coast. On the river, we did not even have an inkling of an idea how high that river was going to go.
Thank you.
How many of you here are signed up on Everbridge for Everbridge alerts? Yeah, that's what I thought. Annie, we need to push information out so folks, which is available. Everbridge, think of it like an Amber Alert on your phone. Oftentimes, we did issue evacuation orders. They did go out through the media. They were posted, and they're those types of things for river. I completely understand. We did. Fortunately, I know fire rescue was out there trying to go door to door in some areas that we knew in some areas. So
one thing is Everbridge, it's Alert Pasco. It's the way you'll sign up as.
Thank you. Okay.
Next question is on the ponds that are in dead drainage areas. I live on Otis Allen, and there's two areas on Otis Allen that are completely dead drainage. There's one down by Wire Road that flooded rather severely, and the other is out toward Forbes. I know both of those areas filled up and flooded homes during, not just in Milton, but on the storms before. Are there any plans, or would you look at any plans to deepen the retention ponds? I realize that Milton was, more than anything could handle, but, I have a mobile home, or a manufactured home on the Forbes end that's now severely compromised because the retention pond completely filled and flooded the whole area. Now we've got pumper trucks taking it down so I can finally get in there to look at the damage, but I'm sure this is something that's happened to retention ponds all over the area. And this is a problem that's not going to go away.
So currently right now, the county has done or is in the process of reviewing the stormwater master plan for the whole county. And all the areas are included in that assessment and what we can do to prevent, flooding due to minor rain showers or minor storms. Major storms like this, obviously, you can't plan for a storm like this. You can try to do as much as you can. However, there is no storm system created that can support the amount of water that fell down due to this storm. But there is a stormwater master plan that is going to try to address all those issues.
One of the problems with specifically the pond on my property is all of Otis Allen from the Mennonite Church to Old Lakewood Highway drains into it. It's bringing all sorts of sediment over the years. And the county tells me it's on me to clean that sediment out. Well, it's coming off of private public property, so it seems like it should be perhaps on the county to periodically, maybe every 10 years or so, come make that pond deeper. Because right now this is already deep, it's built in.
Okay. And so if you like, we can talk about this after this our question session. And we have personnel that can also assist with that.
Is there someone here from Zephyr Hills City? Behind you.
Right behind you.
Which one? Right there. So we live off Geiger Road on Hannah and Hazel. I'm trying not to get upset. We took in water from the YMCA's retention pond. Sorry. You don't.
She's talking about the area around the YMCA.
I am familiar with her, yes.
Yes, and they put a tiger dam up before Milton came through. Well, that didn't help. And I've been talking to the city about who authorized an overflow from the YMCA retention pond into that neighborhood. I can't get an answer from anybody. They're developing now, raising the elevation by the YMCA 5 feet, right up to the height of the fence of that neighborhood. The city tells me they're putting 3 retention ponds in there, but I don't know how that's going to collect all the rainwater because that area gets flooded even when we have a heavy rain. And people that have lived there for 40 years said they never had an issue with water until that YMCA was built. We need to know what they're going to do about that problem, and they need to stop the development now until we get resolution on how they're going to control that water. I need to know who to contact about getting rid of that tiger dam too, how we can get rid of that, because that will bring the water down.
All right, so currently right now I have pump trucks that should be in your area. There are some. I try to get the bigger ones, but as y'all know that the access to that area is relatively tight. So they were able to get whatever size trucks they can, and it's going to take a little bit to get that water down. As soon as the water down's far enough, the tiger dam will come down, so that way we can get that out of there as well. Again, as soon as I get they can't just go in there, with the water as high as it is. So as soon as the water comes down, I'd probably say about halfway down the tiger dam, they'll be able to remove it. Then I will make sure that I let the state know, and because they're the ones that are responsible for the tiger dam. So I'll let them know, and then we'll see if we can get them out there to remove it.
After this, we'll let you talk with them. They're right behind you, but after this, you hear from them. Next question over here.
I have a question because of, it's about flooding, but I'm not really sure if you're the one that would answer all this.
I'm probably, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I've not noticed a lot of this flooding until the building started. I know that we are saying the 100-year storm, but in 2004, think back to 2004, how many hurricanes we had back to back to back, and how much rain we took on then. And we didn't have the flooding, and we did not have this building. So I live off of St. Joe and Happy Hill Road, and I flooded, and I can tell you, I grew up out in Lake Javita before it was Lake Javita, skiing that area, okay? Lake Javita now drains into what used to be my backyard cow pasture, and I'm speaking for my landlord, that was dry, that horses grazed. Now it's a lake. So with a canal that leads over to the lake going towards Happy Hill Road, which we fought to mess with our waterways. It feeds under Happy Hill Road into what is another pond that is now being developed that you can clearly tell if you're from Dade City and have lived here any amount of time was built up about 4 to 5 feet. Never had we flooded before, ever, until they started building those houses, and I waited out with my son and my 2 dogs. So my question to you is, who is in charge of the building and permitting all this building and messing with our waterways? How many times has the green swamp been rerouted? How many times has it been dumped in to feed into the Withlacoochee? So when we're playing God and building all this and changing our waterways and building up land, and we're landlocked and the water has nowhere to go, stop blaming it on a 100-year storm, because this was not a direct hit to Tampa. What's going to happen the next time Tampa gets hit directly? It went through Polk County. So guess what? You commissioners, y'all approve it. I do believe you approved the building.
And not to mention my friend who has property, Shannon Thomas, who's been in her family almost 100 years, land has never flooded for 100 years. So there is not the 100-year storm.
Yeah, again, as.
It's the building.
Okay, folks, if I can answer and speak, we do, remember the ground rules that we laid out. I get it, completely understand. Know that these are questions too that the Board of County Commissioners is asking. Actually, on Tuesday when we met, offered to kind of sit down and have a workshop, both education. Listen, I think one of our commissioners even mentioned it's a very sticky wicket when it comes to the development of this county and how that happens. And more importantly, the rules, ma'am, please, the rules that are in place with it. And so there are a number of things that the board is looking to tackle. And so we looked and, ma'am, okay.
Let him speak.
Folks, we need to keep it civil. All right, at the end, I understand. So the board has asked us to kind of pull together both educational and looking at policy. And again, these are things that the board wants to look at and wants to discuss further. But again, you do have to recognize that this was a large scale event. Listen, as a professional engineer, I will tell you, okay, folks, we're going to have to call it quits if we can't keep this the right way. Her question was what, ma'am? Who approves it? Yes, ultimately it does come through the Board of County Commissioners. You are 100% correct. However, the board does so within the rules and the design parameters that are set out by the Water Management District, the Florida Building Code, and a number of other things. I understand, but it's all done in accordance with the rules at hand, and that's what the board wants to look at. And they've asked us to start addressing that. So I think that shows a lot of wisdom and understanding on their part as to what's going on. So flooding questions and road questions.
Okay, we're back to flooding, and we got a question back here.
I have a question about property in Zephyr Hills between 16th and 20th. It's just outside the city limits, so it's county off of Dade Road. So it's not river related, but it's one of those low-lying areas where homes are underwater. When can those type of areas that's not river related look for pumping and trucks to come out there to start pulling that water? Because it's been the same level since day one. Like it's
So-
not draining at all.
So I have pump trucks throughout the city and, again, throughout the county. I only have so many assets. As they get one area done, I send them to another one. If you haven't already gone through and called in through either Public Works or the customer service, do so, please. So that way we can get those addresses and locations where I can get those pump trucks to.
Here, hold on. So the number you can call, and again, I would say, call our customer service line. I'm going to read this number to you a couple of times, write it down. They're open during the week, 727-847-2411. That's 727-847-2411. That's a clearinghouse for all questions related to the county. And so they can put you in touch with the proper department so you don't have to figure that out. It's also listed on mypasco.net.
I have a question. With all these tankers, they're in my neighborhood. I'm right by you and I'm right by you, gentlemen. They're 24/7. I see them all the time. They're pumping out of the Alpha Village 16th Street and all that. My question is, with these tankers being in here and everything else, how is it going to affect us in the long run on our property taxes? Because that's not free. How is it going to affect us? Because our property taxes skyrocket, our insurance skyrocket. How is it going to affect us? Because it's not free, honestly.
Is your question, are we paying for these tankers?
Or is it's going to be placed on the people in the city on our taxes, or is it coming out of where?
These tankers are being sent down from the state. So it has nothing to do with Pasco County other than we are the ones in charge of making sure they go to the different locations to pump out the water.
So it's not going to affect us, that's what you're saying, on our property taxes and stuff like that, or our insurance?
Yes, ma'am. So let me make something very, very clear. And it's the same with debris pickup. It's the same with flooding. Part of the reason why we are trying to do things by the book is to make Pasco County eligible for federal reimbursement. We're talking tens of millions of dollars here, and we do not want to put that burden on the Pasco County taxpayer. So thank you for that question. It's a very good question.
All right, so I have a question. I live in Zephyr Hills in the city off 16th Street. Before the hurricane even started, our houses started to flood. It did not start to flood because outside water's coming in. It started flooding from our toilets and our showers coming up into our house, then proceeding into the roads. When I flagged down code enforcement the next day after we had to wait inside of our houses all night to get out because we didn't know if it was safe or not, he told me, quote unquote, from what I hear, some of the sewage pumps had backed up and there's nothing that we can do about it. Now, all this water is in my house, which, like everyone else here, I'm in flood zone X, so I don't carry flood insurance. So now my house is flooded from sewage water, not even hurricane water. What boat does that leave me in? City should pay for that.
Did you say you were within the city limits of Zephyr Hills? So I would ask you to probably address that with your utility department, whoever that is, correct?
This lady right here has had her hand up for 20 minutes.
Well, hello there. So I really don't have a question. I have more of a concern. We flooded. We've been on that street 40 years. We had never flooded. It happened. Problem is when EMS came to get a disabled person out, they weren't told that our street was completely flooded. So then the next problem is the lady has fell out of the wheelchair. She's stuck in the house. They can't get there. We need a new blueprint that gives them the accurate information. The EMS that came was from the west side of the county, so he didn't know. So I told him how to get to the back side of her house, which is the trail. Well, then we get to the trail. The trail has 2 yellow bars up there, and they can't get the EMS back there. We need to take the bars down.
put a fence up there. Put something up there that when we run into this, they can get back there and help her. They did eventually get back there. We had one, and I don't know his name. He ran all the way around a couple blocks. And when I seen his red shirt, I knew he had made it. But it shouldn't take that for them to get there to do emergency response. Second thing, the drains. I don't know the last time I seen somebody from the county, because I already went over to the city. So the city said that it's the county, they don't clean the drains. At some point, we need to do maintenance. And if we do maintenance, then when we have storms like this, we won't run into as much of a problem.
So ma'am, first, I'd like to get your address. So if we can come over here to one of our personnel over here to give them their address, because I want to make sure the area is, I know what we're talking about as far as access for rescue, because that is definitely primary in our concerns. And then second, as far as the drains, again, with your address, I will make sure that all of the drains are going to be cleaned in that area and get into that routine maintenance.
Hi. My thing is that we got flooded. We live in Lanier Road and off of 54. We got flooded from a retention pond that was built, that is still under construction right now. We got over flooded. We were on landline, and they put an emergency. We ended up getting the blueprints, and the city actually approved the engineer to actually put an emergency outfall to drain into our property.
Okay, and this is where?
In Zephyr's Hills.
Zephyr Hills?
In Lanier Road. They're developing now, so we got flooded.
Are you in the county or are you in the city limits?
In the county.
You're in county, and then the city?
And then they took our easement to put a retention pond and gave us part of the HOA that's being built now to be accessed. But we're not part of the HOA, but no one's coming out to us and no one's giving us answers because we got flooded. So everyone's up of us. And the retention pond, it's landmarked with our property and just went right into our property. And we lost 3 acres of land.
For this one, can we do the same thing?
Yes, likewise,
We'll get site
please,
specific and we'll
let's get your address and location, so that way we can go investigate, take a look at it, because sometimes some of this stuff is not just at my level, the county level, it also includes some of the state enforcement levels.
I work for an engineer company, and they actually pulled the blueprints, and the emergency outfall is discharged to go into our property, and I just didn't understand why did they approve that.
And he will assist you with that. Sir.
So we live in Zephyr Hills. We're nowhere near the Withlacoochee. We're not near the Hillsborough River. Definitely share the concerns that some others over there have raised regarding overdevelopment contributing to this problem. I mean, at 5 o'clock in the morning, I walked out on my street and I could walk all the way down the road. It was completely dry. 4 hours later, it was flooded. I mean, this water came on super fast. We've been led to believe that at least one other contributing factor to this is that retention ponds in another community downstream from us were not cleared. They failed. The HOA had been notified and failed to do anything about it, which contributed to the flooding in my neighborhood. And I'm just wondering how much responsibility is being placed on HOAs? What's their liability if they fail to act? And is it on them rather than the city or county to address problems with retention ponds that can contribute to this kind of a catastrophic problem?
Yeah, absolutely. Depending on the ownership of the stormwater ponds and the maintenance, HOAs oftentimes are required to do certain maintenance activities. I can't mention names, but I can tell you there was a situation that happened in this county as a result even of these storms, and the Water Management District is pursuing enforcement actions on those. So they are the regulatory being. And again, the Southwest Florida Water Management District does set the standards for stormwater management, and we follow those. And so that's and they're the regulatory body. So those things need to be reported, and enforcement actions do proceed. It doesn't change the result, unfortunately, but at least there's accountability. Yes, sir.
If anything like this is put into our HOAs in our community,
Yeah.
I don't trust them to be able to do it.
Copy that.
I agree. I'm agreeing with him because Tuesday, about 2 weeks ago, I went out to Bible study on a dry ground. Wednesday, we got up and the road was full of water. I would like to know where the water came from, and it just kept rising and rising and rising until it just flooded out everything. Everybody on Cochran Street had to get out. We are all displaced. And we are still displaced because the water is still there. And this happened to me last Saturday. I had a week's supply of my medication, but I ran out. So my son took me in the truck because my car would have probably flooded trying to get in there, so I didn't do that. So my son took me in the truck and took me to the back of the house, to the back door, and the water was to the last step. And after we got there, he got stuck. After he got stuck, I called 911. They sent the fire department out there. They stopped at the end of the road. They sent police officers out there. They stopped at the end of the road. Nobody would come to rescue me and my son. So one police officer was brave enough to try to come and help. He had on boots, but the water went over his boots. So he got wet up because the water was just that high. And nobody came. So he started calling some of his friends. And one of his friends came with his 4x4 truck or whatever you call it. He came and he rescued us. He came and he did just what he said he was going to do. He said, all I need to do is wash my hands and I'll be right there. And he came and he pulled us out of there. Now, all these other people standing at the edge of that road, but nobody came to see about us in a boat or try to come down there, to rescue us or anything. And I had to get my medication. So that's what we were doing there. And nobody warned us that this water was going to be that dangerous. So I assumed that this was some very dangerous water that the police was afraid to come in there, and the fire department people were afraid to come in there.
I'm sorry you had that experience, and I'm glad that at least someone showed up with the right equipment to get in there. And those are some of the things I know that we're trying to do countywide, is making sure that our first responders are equipped with the right equipment to go in and make sure that they can perform the rescues that they need to do. So again, your situation, there may be very different things going on there, but we did manage to rescue 1,200 folks through these floodwaters. But again, making sure that they have the proper equipment has been a priority of the board and this administration. So thank you for calling that out for us, and I'm sorry you had to experience that.
Good evening. My name is Terry McKay. I work for Walt Disney World. I just recently got off from work. And Mr. Walt Disney had the Army Corps of Engineers to come in, the federal government, to resolve the issues before they even started at Walt Disney World. I've been at Walt Disney World now for almost 38 years. It has never flooded at Walt Disney World. The Army Corps of Engineers also did the South District water management. It has never flooded there. It has never flooded at Walt Disney World. The canals flow from Walt Disney World underneath I-4 straight out towards the far distance, further south. Is it possible to have the Army Corps of Engineers to come in to help us? Yes. These guys, whatever they put their hands to, they are very, very successful in solving this issue. Just like it says in the good book, for those who seek counsel is wise. So let's get wise and ask the Army Corps of Engineers to come in to assist us in this situation. And I can assure you it would resolve this flooding issue everywhere, universally, even though it is cantankerous and precarious with this storm that's coming up, that's brewing in the south region, out in the ocean. There's another storm coming. Who knows where it's going? And who knows how worse this is going to get? So with that being said, also, I want to add that I have high respect and thanks to all of you for doing the best that you can in your respectable places. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing. This is not within your power to make this water a seed. It's not within your power. It's within God's power. Let's reach out to the Army Corps of Engineers, the federal government, to give us a hand in this. And I can assure you, they will come up with a plan. Everything they put their hands to, they have become successful at it.
So Terry, thank you for allowing me to respond here. And with thanks to Dr. Mark Bellis, who's here, he leads our Office of Sustainability and Strategy here for the county. I have a letter I signed today to Colonel Bowman at the Jacksonville District requesting exactly what you asked for. So thank you, sir.
So you have tanker trucks moving water throughout the county to different areas within the county that aren't currently flooded, correct?
I'm sorry, say what?
Yeah, you have trucks moving water out of flooded areas to
Correct.
areas that are not flooded, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Not that they're
Now-
moving areas that are not flooded, they're moving areas to outfalls that will not create any flooding further downstream.
Was Chansey Road one of the places water's being moved to?
That's correct. There is an outfall there that goes to the Hillsborough River.
Okay, so that's spring-fed, correct?
I'm sorry?
That is spring-fed,
No,
right?
that is all rainfall that comes from all the way up from the Geiger Pond. That's where it outfalls.
Can you tell me where at on Chansey Road that is?
That's just east of 301.
Just east of 301.
So we're not talking about the corner of Chansey and Diana Drive? Because we've seen multiple trucks pumping.
Well, we're seeing water build up now right there at that spring-fed pond. And
No,
there was no more water. It all went.
The outfall on Chansey is a direct link to the Hillsborough River and then down to the Gulf. So.
So my question is,
One question at a time, please.
water's not being pumped right there at that pond there. at
Discharge?
Diana.
No.
It's not being.
I
moved.
have no trucks going there.
Okay,
but-
that was it. That was my concern. That was my issue. All right.
Hello. My question is, I'm not sure if it's a question, but our issue is we had flooding way before Debbie, way before Helene, way before Milton. We're in Silver Oaks. What happened? It can't just say it was the hurricanes because we did have rain, but we flooded, the front entrance was flooded way back in like August 25th. We were having issues way back then.
So initially in the Silver Oaks area, the flooding happened immediately after Debbie. And then that was the initial flooding, which filled up the golf course. In September, I want to say September 5th or 6th or 4th or 5th, that's when we had the 2 days of intense rain,
Yep.
4.5 inches each day. And then during that time, there was another event in that same time that increased the amount of water that went into that area. And then after that, we were able to pump it down. And then Helene and between Helene, which didn't drop a lot of rain, but Milton, and then all that water accumulated again.
Before, I felt like it was before Debbie.
No, ma'am. It happened immediately after Debbie was the initial flooding.
Okay.
And then which was in August. And then in September, early September, we had the 2 days of rain.
Yes.
Of major rain, 4.5 inches each day. And then that compounded the issue. And then after that, Milton happened, and that really compounded the issue in Silver Oaks.
Yes.
And then we've been trying to obviously work that area along with the Betmar and then the preceding areas after that.
So do you think it's gonna, how much longer we gotta wait for our houses to come unflooded in Zephyr Hills? What do you think?
Everything going as planned, and I say that loosely because, you know, I'm going to run the pumps 24/7. But again, all those things are mechanical. So if they break down, that adds to the time. If everything goes as planned, I foresee you going into your homes, probably, I want to say estimated, and this is a rough estimate, probably about in a month.
Questions, you girls as well. We have been having this same issue. My house is in the front. So
Hold on.
So we already have these pumps. They are not working right now because obviously they are underwater. What we're gonna do to prevent this to happen again? Because yes, it was before the first hurricane because of the raining. So what are we gonna do to prevent this? Because this never happened.
So currently, right now, all the pumps over there are working.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
But the thing is that we have lakes there. My house is completely almost underwater.
Yes, ma'am. I do understand.
And I request to be having these orange things to cover because I'm at the entrance and was completely denied because the person in charge told me your house is gonna be okay. So look at that. I'm completely underwater and they are telling me a month to go in. So I don't have the insurance. The insurance is not gonna help me. FEMA is not helping me. No one is helping me. So my question is, eventually it's gonna be okay. But what you guys are gonna do to prevent this to happen again?
All right.
Yeah, next year, what
Okay.
happens?
What's gonna happen next year? And it's because of the rain. I know that they build new association next to it.
Yeah. Well,
Obviously.
yeah. What we'll do is we'll talk offline so other people have an opportunity to ask questions. But yeah, if you guys want to get with them.
So, all right, folks, I understand everybody's got a lot of questions about flooding. The gentleman in the blue shirt, grab his question, please. And then I have to move on to other departments. We have had a lot of questions about flooding.
Telling where the water came from on Diana. The construction company that's building that unit right there was pumping their water out of their stormwater drain today, which washed out our Diana Drive.
Gotcha.
So we're building too much in this county, and they're elevating it like 4 or 5 feet higher than what the land is around it. That is the biggest reason we're having the flooding.
Yes, sir. The gentleman blue stood up, everybody clapped. So
I just want to echo the gentleman in the gray shirt, his sentiments on the hard work that you individuals are doing. I think there's a lot of questions about decisions by the Board of Commissioners. And it goes directly, I like the gentleman in the blue shirt, engineer. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. There's been a lot of questions that have been brought up about the development. You mentioned that everything's up to Florida code, but I have to say there's so many people here that built 60, 70 years ago that we didn't need to build our houses up 5 feet above where everybody else is. So the runoff has got to be at least the third factor here in some of these situations. I've seen it firsthand myself. And I think that with every emergency management situation, as I've had experience in that, you review your preparedness, you review your recovery. And I feel for you guys on your recovery because this is unprecedented. But you got to look at how can we improve going forward. And I think that regardless of Florida's standard, we might need to look at certain parts of Florida, like ourselves, that might need to require like a lower allowance for elevation and things like that. And Army Corps of Engineers would be great, but engineers perhaps like yourself that understand that water is going to flow to the point of least resistance. And unfortunately, when you build your property up here and her property is down here and her property is down here, the water is going to go there. So I just want to know, can we get a commitment from the county commissioners? And of course, they get advice from people like you, there's no doubt. But can we look at doing things a little differently with these permits? There's no doubt in my mind that we're stuck with permits that have been signed off on for perhaps years, 3, 4, 5 years of continued development, regardless of what we try to do today.
Thank you for that. And so let me, a couple of quick things, right? So stormwater regulations are relatively a new thing. Probably not until the 1980s did we really have regulations surrounding stormwater and how to manage that. So homes that were built in those other eras didn't have those same rules, right? The rules now that are in place are designed to protect those homes, and of course, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. I think what you had on Tuesday was a commitment from the Board of County Commissioners to really look at this, because I think the board recognizes that it's very complicated. There's homes that have been built, there's homes that are to be built, there are existing regulations and there are existing policies, and couple all that with private property rights and legal things, that it has to really be looked at cohesively. And so the board has charged its administration with pulling together both an educational and a policy workshop. And that's a public process, folks. Those are things that you as citizens can get involved in as well and provide input into that process. So we will be doing something like that probably in the first quarter of next year is where we're looking, because we have to pull representatives from the Water Management District, technical folks together so they can provide that information to the board so they can look at the problem holistically. So thank you for saying that. It truly is a very complicated matter. So I know there are a lot of questions regarding flooding, and I know that it's very, very personal. If you have address-specific type issues, please give them to us and we'll take care of that. Does anyone have questions regarding building permits and building back? Let me just ask that real quick, show of hands. Okay, so we do have a few questions. So I want to go there and start, because while we have this, I know, sir, you're raising your hand. A lot of you have raised your hands on things. And I'm going to tell you, to address flooding in the future, we do have a master plan that we are looking at. In fact, I texted my assistant county administrator over that area and said, I think we need to expand the scope of that and make sure that we are looking at that, because that is not my decision. So right now, again, folks, I'm going to tell you, this was a 500-year event. Okay?
I think the question is, are you guys sure? Do you know that the building and the engineering is not responsible for the flooding?
As an engineer, I will tell you that I will tell you, I can't speak for specific projects, but I will tell you that every engineering project that comes in is done in accordance. It's permitted by the Water Management District to be in accordance with the rules that are in play. And so therein is the deal. So we're going to move to building and construction questions. We can come back to flooding at the end when
Building
we
and construction. Building and construction.
So real quick before we move to flooding or to building and construction, I just want to say that I have those tanker trucks out and about throughout the county. What I have been noticing and what I've witnessed myself personally is that they're out on the road, and the folks, and I'm not saying obviously it's none of y'all, but if you speak to your neighbors, please respect their work out there. They're trying to do good for you guys. And cars are just driving by, splashing the drivers, splashing the operators, all right, not respecting the work zone that they're in. Give them the opportunity to do the job to help you guys out. And that's all I ask as far as that concerned. If you have any more flood questions, please, I'll be over there with my team, and you can come and ask, and we'll be more than happy to assist you as best as we can.
All right. My question is, for one, exactly what you said is absolutely true. Every last one of us have gone through this event together. Some of us seem like we've been by ourselves. We live right on the ocean, and it was the first time our home actually hit since the no-name storm. Now, we had 3 other storms hit beside our properties. As a matter of fact, Marioni, he helped us out with sandbags on one hurricane. But my question is, are you giving out any grants for us to lift our homes out? Because I've heard that other states have been doing that. So are you giving out grants for us to elevate the property?
There are a number of different grant programs available, certainly through insurance, through FEMA individuals, and there's actually 3 or 4 different federal programs to help you with that.
Where can we find that information at?
I'll get with you afterwards. I'll get your name and number, and I'll have my mitigation person contact.
Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, let me.
And that information will also be available on the website under the recovery blowout, if you will, the pop-up.
Hi,
It sounds like we're all in the same boat here. I have a question about finding tradesmen to help rebuild and get the mold out and cut out the drywall, remove the floors, all that. Is there a place where we can find people that are skilled in that?
So you can always go on myfloridalicense.com or the DVPR website to find licensed trade individuals for whatever work types you're looking for. The county itself, we don't recommend any individuals. If you have a question about somebody who has approached you or that you have found.
And we're more looking for like water restoration teams.
Gotcha.
About helping hands.
Okay.
So we do have a group of individuals that are in town right now. They'll probably be here till March. They're called Helping Hands and Hearts. They are doing free work for the citizens in the county, low income, moderate income people. They will come out, gut your house out for you and get that stuff done. If I can get your name and number here in a minute, I will pass it on to them because they're actually right next to our building.
Okay, here's a question. I'm a long way off from building. I got to rebuild a whole entire property, house, garages, pump rooms. I'm gonna have to get permits for all these buildings again?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, if you're in. What's that? Yeah, if you are in the county, you're still required to get permits for all work. Right now, if you have a damaged property, that will cost you 0 fees. So it is a free permit. We just require that you come in and do it so that we can ensure that all work is done and is safe. If you ever transfer the property, we can ensure that that property is safe in perpetuity.
Okay, so another question. So now, they might come in, are they gonna make everything get upgraded? I mean, is this gonna be more of a cost to me than what I had before? Because everything was just fine before, but you know how you all come in and, oh, now you want to upgrade this and you want this to be like, what's gonna happen here?
That is going to depend on the level of damage for your individual property.
It's trash, it's gone.
Yeah, so if it's
I have
trash, you are
nothing.
going to have to build to the current code.
Right. So what I'm on a fixed income. So what's going to happen in the end? I don't have those costs. Who's going to pay those costs? The county? I doubt it.
No, you're correct, sir, but there are going to be programs available for you, certainly under the.
Programs. You know what? The only person in here that's helped me is FEMA, period, so far.
And FEMA is the correct agency to assist you with that, but providing that individual.
I got insurance, but I'm a long way from that. I want to know about the permits and everything else. It's going to be my cost in the end. I don't have it. You know what's going to happen? They're going to force me and a whole bunch of others out of their homes. That's what's going to happen. Do you think I'm going to be able to afford flood insurance after this? I doubt it. I very highly doubt it. They're going to force me out of here. And then with all the other costs. And I want to know, what are the other costs? You officials know them. Tell me. Tell us. Tell everybody in here. They've all had, substantial.
Yeah, permits are free, sir. So it's not going to cost you any additional money for the permits. You have to go through the process, just like. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, question about billing.
The young lady left, she left me this note. Will it be helping the churches? The churches got destroyed, got 2 big trees and all that on them. Will FEMA, anybody help out with the churches?
Yeah, that's a FEMA question. Unfortunately, I don't know the answer to that. Hold on one moment.
Okay.
I want FEMA to come up.
Who's asking the question? Okay, there is a very, very specific fund, designated fund for all houses of worship. And if they receive damage during a disaster, there is an application process. I'm going to tell you it's tedious, but if you stick with it, it will have great rewards. But what you'll need to do is call that 1-800 number. Yeah, the FEMA number, and tell them you need information on houses of worship. I don't think there's a FEMA public assistance person here tonight, but it falls under public assistance, not individual. But we do keep an eye out. Oh, are you public assistance?
Who's that? Oh, great.
Oh, he's helping out.
And folks,
Any more building and construction service questions?
Ralph, hang on for 1
Oh,
second.
hold on.
So for the lady who's asking about, can there be any help out there for the church? Ma'am? Ma'am, I'm trying to answer your question. As far as trying to get help for the church, there's a hurricane
Helene Milton and Cleanup Hotline. The number is 844. And we're going to get this on the county website. It's not already there. It's from the Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. 844-965-1386. Got it. They have all sorts of chainsaws, all sorts of supplies out there. They will also gut homes for those people that, let's say, have the homes that need to be gutted, need help. They'll come out there and do that. You want to get them out there quick before the mold hits, because if the mold hits, they're not going to go put themselves through that. So as this comes down, as the water recedes, this should be a great asset. These people come from all the way around the state to come in, and they help in this area here. They're looking for people to help. So it could be a good asset for you. All right?
Any additional building and construction questions? One over here.
Yes, after a recent storm last year, I forget which county it is, but it was down south. They waived the ordinance that doesn't allow you to stay in an RV or a camper on your property. Is that something that you could consider so that these people that are now homeless might be able to still rebuild and be there on their property and survive without being harassed by the county?
Yes, sir. So by statute, you are allowed to place a temporary structure on your property so long as you connect it to the utilities and that you are actively pursuing improvements on the residence that was there previously. And you can do that for 3 years.
Any other questions on building construction? You all right? Oh, you're running over here. All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and community response. Any questions in regards to human services, anything like that? All right, what about business recovery? Any questions on that? Oh,
sure.
I have a friend of mine that owns a farm. It's a business, and she has homeschool stuff that she does there, lots of other things. But I was just curious for her what kind of requirements there are for help with businesses, income, or
Well, first requirement is you have to be registered at our clerk's office with a business tax receipt. You have secured that receipt, we will help the individual out.
all right, so now we'll go to FEMA rumors and realities. Any questions for the FEMA folks that are here? What? We got a young lady over here, the lady in blue.
There she's up there.
Oh.
I was hoping you'd finish.
Hi, my question is, most of everybody, I guess, has applied for FEMA, and everybody on social media, it's like, no, I've been rejected, I've been denied. What's happening? Because I was denied too.
Okay, let's clarify the word denied. Do you have the letter or email after you sent in your application? Do you have it with you?
Just take the conversation out so we can close it.
Then how do you know you were denied? Because what? That is a misleading term. The door is not closed. All right, you need to go to the Disaster Recovery Center, tell them what it is. They will pull it up. Many times when you've been denied A, it means you're now qualified for B, C, and D. It doesn't mean you're out of luck. So what you need to do is it might be something as simple as they misinterpreted your phone number, or you need one more piece of documentation. But other than accept, oh my gosh, life is over, I got nothing, go find out, because that's the trick with FEMA, is there are standard things you may or may not qualify for, but frequently, because you didn't get this, you are now eligible for this. There's a whole section, brand new in FEMA applications, about private roads and bridges, which every person in this room that has a private road needs to go find out about that program. And if you sit with the Disaster Recovery Center subject experts, they know that. And they'll say, well, what about your road? Well, what about your bridge? Well, you're going to have to rebuild that deck. Do you now need a ramp? Do you need a handicap thing? Because we now have funds for that. Okay? So don't be discouraged, be smart. Say, all right, and look, don't talk to me about social media. I mean, it's just go to the experts and get your own experience and information.
Okay, next question here.
Anything else? Somebody.
I live in Zephyr Hills and my roof had damage and I have water going down through my walls causing mold. And I have a rare lung disorder where I can't be around the mold. So my landlord told me to move out and I was denied by FEMA. I put in the initial application. The next day it said a FEMA representative be calling me and coming out to assess damage. The next day, no call, I got a denial letter saying I was denied.
Okay, I do not know your personal situation. There are times you might be denied due to various financial situations and so forth, but you need to go to that disaster recovery and have them explain it to you. We also have a whole section when you're at that disaster recovery center, tell them you have severe unmet needs, that your health is in question because of the house. Forget all the other stuff. You need a safe, sanitary place to live. What were those two words I used? And you can get in line for the various programs that the county, the state, and these people have for you for temporary housing. No. You have to, oh, honey, we're all, no. No, there's a disaster recovery center. There's the disaster recovery center, but there's not a FEMA office.
Andy will get that address.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got it.
I was also denied on the website, and then 2 days later, they said that I was eligible for one hotel room, which my house, I answered it was livable, and they decided to give me a hotel room. I was asking for loss of food. Does FEMA provide?
FEMA does not do food.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, big capital letters. We do not.
So Florida DCF just opened up DSNAP. That is something we can get you information on that, and that will help you. Yeah, you may be because it's different with disasters.
There's
disaster SNAP's a little different than the regular, but they do it differently on that. So I'll get you the information. Okay.
Oh, Lord. There's also.
Frank Bell, I live in Zephyr Hills too, and I applied with FEMA, and it was a little tricky, but not too bad. But I got a disaster number and I got a FEMA application number, and then it asked for some more information. But on your first page, it's terrible because you can sit there and you won't hear any action. They said they're going to get in contact with you. You have to go to the correspondence, which is on the next screen, and then you have to read the fine print, and you do. I just did this. But anyway, then you get to you wonder why the holdup is, and then they're asking for more identification because of some fraud. And anyway, that's part of the holdup. But anyway, my question is, I have the disaster number and I have the application number. When am I going to hear from somebody? Because I did that about 3 days.
Are the DSA people still here outside?
I believe so.
You need to go right outside and talk to the people with DSA. They'll pull up your application with your registration number and help you figure it out.
I'm going to give them
Hey.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Nutritional assistance.
On FEMA?
Yeah, what?
Okay, for FEMA, I too applied for FEMA.
Young lady right here.
Okay,
I too applied for FEMA, and in my application, I did not ask for housing, but I did ask for someone to come out. I mean, did not ask for food. I asked for housing. Food was approved for some reason, and housing still pending. So I went to the at the Stalling Building here on 14th Street, and I talked to one of the FEMA workers there. And I asked her, could someone come out and take a look at it, because they said it was pending per property review. She says, no, they can't come out there right now, not at all. But a FEMA was in my area this week, and I asked him, why can't you, I can give you my number, why can't you assess my property? You're right here. And he says, unfortunately, that's not how FEMA works. Well, I looked at all my correspondence and I didn't see anything else out there. So he said, I can't tell you, but I have a whole list of people. So what is the timeline? And I know a lot of people are just in the same situation as myself, but we just don't know how much time, because just like the other people are telling you, they tell you don't touch your stuff. Well, how long do you want it to sit out there before someone comes by and take a look at it? Because I'm telling you, if you're in a house, do not let your mold build up. It will be disastrous if you do that.
well,
So-
obviously, everybody needs to clean out their house if it's been flooded. You don't have to wait for anybody's permission on that. You don't have to wait for insurance, you have to wait for anything, clean it out. But you've got to understand, just like the gentleman said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And everybody you see that's with FEMA doesn't have the same skills. And we have an orderly process. If you walk up and he assesses your property and your neighbor finds out about it, well, he went and did her property and didn't do mine, blah, 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 blah. Can you imagine? But ma'am, we don't have timelines.
All fine, well and good, but if I have a number that you have assigned me and you assign an adjuster to that area, why can't that adjuster go ahead on and just come over and take a look at their property?
Because that adjuster may have been assigned, but he may still have 3 other areas he has to complete before he gets there.
And I didn't even ask for it. I didn't ask for it. No, I did not.
Okay, I'm not gonna, you probably got money, the $750. But that's not just for food, that's emergency, clothes, shoes, medicine, hearing aids, whatever. Most people use it for food, but you've got to be judicious about how you spend it. You take it to the Winn-Dixie and buy $600 worth of food, that's fine. It's your money, spend it any way you want. But that money is not designated, it's designated emergency expenses. Immediately goes to you so you can get a toothbrush, so you can get clothes, so you can get your medications refilled, so you can take your dog to the vet, whatever. Most people are so focused on, I don't have any food, I lost all my food. That's the first place it goes to. But let's not misunderstand that, okay?
I have a question about the displacement resources. I'm in Silver Oaks. I'm on the bad part. You can't access my place except by boat. My son actually canoed into my home. It's had 4 feet of sewage water sitting in it for 15 days. The mold is already astonishing just from the stuff that's not, I know I heard somebody say approximately a month before the water can go down and we can be back in our homes, but that's a different situation what we're experiencing, because obviously with the home, it's going to be uninhabitable for a while. So we're just looking, right now we're in an Airbnb until the 30th of the month. We spent over $6,000 for these 3 weeks just having placement.
Okay.
So that's my question as far as what FEMA has to offer as far as
Okay,
displacement.
the state of Florida, upon request of the county of Pasco and so in other counties, has requested that FEMA turn on a program called TSA, Temporary Sheltering Assistance. Now, it takes a while to get it all in place, but in the meantime, those other ladies are here, and there is, you in your FEMA money are able to get rental assistance, temporary housing assistance to use for a hotel. And you can go to the Hyatt or you can go to Motel 6, it's up to you. The assessor can't get into your home. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Yes. So-
that money's not going away. It was allotted to you. That's your tax dollars, my tax dollars, their tax dollars.
I'll take one more question. I've got her ready.
We're not taking it. So what do they do? Because people are out of their homes and they cannot get down the road, and they're going to hotel after hotel in the area on this side of the county, in Pasco, Dade City. Everywhere they going, they say, we don't take this, we don't take this. What do? They're literally out their homes.
Ma'am, we can't solve everything. And this is a national problem. We don't even have places for FEMA people. We're about to be moved to what's called a responder camp. And so that more hotel rooms are available. But I don't have a magic answer because Pasco County didn't know this was going to hit, and 5 years ago start building 500 extra apartments.
So what I'd like you all to do you can see this lady over here, Marcy. She's got hotels. She can help you with hotel vouchers. She can help you with first and last month's rent. So please call and see Marcy. She's got applications for you, okay? Because we are placing people in hotels.
All right, folks. So the supplemental nutrition program is going to be activated in 2 days, and you can get it on our website, right, Mike?
Yeah, I think Sunday, the 27th.
27th will be turned on, so you can find that program and apply there. I want to thank you all for coming out here tonight. It was a hard night, I'll say that, but I'm hoping we answered your questions. In the event you don't, go call our customer service website, 727-847-2411. Let them know what your issue is. They will route it to the right person. So with that being said, it's been a good night. You all have a great evening. I wish you all the best of luck. This meeting has been concluded. Yes, ma'am.